there is a big rush and a big wave of a more efficient, scalable, automated, AI-enabled teams and systems that are going to come and disrupt the entire workflow of how law firms are run. It's best to kind of learn how it will disrupt it and again, be able to use it to your advantage instead of getting washed away from it.
Welcome to my legal academy, helping lawyers work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life.
Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Paralegal podcast. My name is Eda, your host, and today I have the awesome Sam. We've been able to speak a couple times before the recording, so I've gotten to know him, his brand, his mission, and what he feels about the future of our legal industry, our lawyers, our law firms, and basically what that looks like through mentorship, coaching, apprenticeship, and consulting in a nutshell. So without further ado, Sam, welcome to the Let's Talk Paralegal podcast.
Thank you so much, Eda. It's super exciting. And I know you have an engaged group of people that follow you and listen to you. So props to you to keep it going.
Thank you. So you want to tell the audience a little bit about you, where you came from, how this, embassy happened. You have quite a story. So you want to share a little bit with the audience?
Sure. So I became a lawyer 8 years ago, and I worked at a law firm. And while I was working at the law firm, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I started questioning life, and I basically decided to start my own law firm because I thought I could be able to run a law firm a lot more efficiently than the way it was run. So I started my own law firm. I had a lot of time on my hands because I didn't have that many clients. So I started teaching myself about how to generate clients online. Started learning about these things called funnels. Started basically generating clients. I funneled people first to be able to give me a call. And then all of a sudden there was a huge influx of calls. I'd be able to handle it. Then I started forwarding those leads towards emails. Then I was able to answer all the emails myself. Then out of that desperation, when I had so much stuff going on, I basically started also automating things. That means be able to create systems and processes for the law firm to run on its own, completely on its own. So that means the leads will come in, our automations and our virtual intakers, we were able to sign them up. Then they were handed over to our client onboarding teams. Then they were handed off to our legal clerks. Then they were handed off to our attorneys. This whole kind of system was kind of systematized. And I was able to duplicate this over and over. Fast forward 7 years later, I've been able to I run 6 of my own law firms, and I've been able to automate all of them. And at the same time, about 3 years ago, I started a journey teaching this to other law firm owners about how they could not only get more clients, but also create systems, and also very important to build teams, including paralegals and every asset of different team members that are needed to be able to automate and run a very systematized law firm.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail, right? As lawyers, you're not trained to run a business at all, right? So you have to learn it. You have to learn everything from scratch or reach out to someone that knows, whatever the case may be. And automation is something that legal technology has been able to help us as well, right? Especially after COVID, I feel a lot of the software and the legal technology in general has grown. I'm testing new software and updates all the time. Like this morning, I just had a test run with a huge legal company out overseas, and they have paralegals and they have professionals because we're the frontliners. We're the ones that are going to be using this software, so they're going to want to know our feedback and what we think about it and what other features they can add. So definitely automation is the way to go and the way to learn as well. I love another thing that you said about trying to create a team, because I feel like sometimes, especially now with all, okay, I'm just going to submit my resume and then hope and pray I get the deal. Like, that's it, right? Like, let's just hope and pray I get this client, I get this job, I get this opportunity. And then it's like, well, I haven't heard anything. Well, have you followed up? Did you even want that opportunity? I mean, how bad did you want it? Or all you did was upload something. And so creating teams can get, people are stuck in the traditional ways where they would just submit something, get a call, get an interview, and all that good stuff. And that's just not how it goes, right? Unfortunately, there's so much out there. There's so much information. Like, I can work for somebody in California sitting here in Florida or New York or Chicago. I do it every day. So, understanding the new law firm, the new way to run a law firm is really important. And I know I find it hard. So I don't know about you, and I want to hear your feedback on this, but I find it really hard to kind of get my message through with the attorneys that are very stuck in traditional, no, my team has to be in my office at all hours and they have to do it this way. Like, tell me how you navigate through that, right? Because I have a few discussions with them. Obviously, there's layer 1, 2, and 3. So really, how do you navigate through those clients that are just maybe not willing to budge or maybe not willing to grow in the way that you're presenting it?
Some, no matter what, are not going to budge no matter what. So those aren't the battles that I would like to tackle with, because, you know, some people are just set in their ways, and that's okay. If that's what's worked for you, that's fine. But just know there is a big rush and a big wave of a more efficient, scalable, automated, AI enabled teams and systems that are going to come and disrupt the entire workflow of how law firms are run. And unfortunately, it's kind of like a adopt or die kind of situation. I've kind of been on the front runner of this. I've been, you know, setting up these automations and things way before the pandemic. And now, thanks to the pandemic, actually helped kind of expose those things that I was already doing and talking about for many years, which kind of and brought that to the surface. But now even more so, especially with AI. I mean, we could probably talk a lot about how AI is going to completely disrupt this whole market. It's adopt or die. So unfortunately, I'm not looking to, you know, convince anybody. I'm convinced, I already know there are a lot more efficient ways to be able to run these things. And it's up to the law firm owners to be able to kind of be willing to listen and adopt. If not, no worries. We'll be able to kind of overtake that.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're a lawyer and you're looking to work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life, right below this video, you'll find a link to book a call to speak to my team so we can tell you how we've been able to help over 500 law firm owners scale their law firm. Now back to the video.
I call them the blockbuster clients because, you know, Blockbuster wasn't willing to grow and look where they're at. So yeah, and eventually it's going to catch up to you, right? You have to, just like anything else in life, you have to grow. You have to be more flexible in your thoughts and the way you present yourself and things like that. So yeah, okay, so we have the same thing because I don't even bother. I'm just like, okay, bye. Like you know, our time is valuable as well. So it's like, why am I even going to waste it on someone that's not willing to hear this?
Totally. And one of our advisors, which is one of our salespeople on our team, brought this up yesterday in our team meeting. Hey, there's some pushback from some certain lawyers who have a fear of technology, have a fear of change. They question things left and right. Because lawyers are just they look at every side, you know, they get too over analytical. What can we do about that? And actually I told them, hey, if you want, gather all your other questions, bring those up, and let's have a deep conversation. Ultimately, I think there's a deep rooted sense of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's happening, deep rooted in the lawyers themselves. And so first you got to kind of tackle that before we get to the surface. So it requires deeper conversation, but it comes down to like kind of deeper sense of like, again, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
And I don't know if it happens to you, but it happens to me. Sometimes you approach someone that's just not ready, right? And you just have to identify that. Sometimes they're just not ready. They'll make all the excuses in the world, whether it's financially, mentally, you know, wherever they're at in their personal, professional life. They'll make all these excuses. And those are the ones that you'll follow up with later, right? Like 2-3 months later, and I'll grab them. You know, I'll be like, okay, I completely understand that maybe this is not something that you're willing to focus on right now because you're so overwhelmed, but that is literally what I'm trying to sell you. So you're not overwhelmed, but okay, whatever. And then you get them on a good day a couple weeks later, and then all of a sudden they're more open to the conversation. So I think you're right. I think it's all about the mindset and where they are currently focusing on in their actual law firm, right? In their format and what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. And let's be real, sometimes they don't even know what they need, right? They're just like, I just need help. And then they hope and pray that you come with all the answers because they're like, I don't even know where I need this help, right? Like, I know I get those clients all the time where it's clearly like, all right, let me hold your hand. Let's get you through this because it's going to be a long road.
Totally.
Another thing you mentioned was AI, right? ChatGPT, talk of the town, right? Like I was mentioning earlier, softwares really noticeably upgrading their integration, right? Because they're noticing that a lot of attorneys do not want the whole multiple softwares and multiple platforms, right? They want everything to integrate, work seamlessly. A lot of remote work is happening, so they want accessibility to their team, what they're doing, what they're up to, why they're doing it, when they're doing it, how they're doing it. They want still some type of control, right? So all these upgrades and all these updates that I'm noticing with the new AI that's coming out has a lot to do with that, right? Has a lot to do with timekeeping, has a lot to do with the user versus really what it actually does. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this whole AI thing.
It's going to majorly disrupt and eliminate a lot of positions, but I don't want people to get scared of it. If anything, it's I've never seen a more level playing field of taking this technology. Anybody can take this technology, do something about it, and either make their role better or create some roles or some value wherever you're working at. For example, take whatever you're working at. There's always data that you're getting. Are you doing something with it to be able to have an output? So the first question is, what is that data you're working with? Okay, what questions and answers do you have? Second is, if you have the data, what is the prompt that you have to give to this AI? Like basically, what are the instructions to say, hey, take this data and I want you to do this with it, which is basically what you're doing. And see if you can come up with that. That's what I've been challenging everybody in our teams to take their role and kind of really break it down like that. What data do you have and what are you doing with it? And let's put that into ChatGPT and see what we can come up with and how it optimizes your role. For paralegals, it's very obvious. There's going to be a major disruption. Sorry to break the news. It's best to kind of learn how it will disrupt it and again, be able to use it to your advantage instead of getting washed away from it.
Right, I know. And you're right, it is. It's going to eliminate a lot of it, which is fine. We've been waiting for something like this to happen to us because I feel like sometimes a lot of people feel like we're glorified assistants, right? And we're doing all this administrative stuff that can seamlessly be, done through a software, through an AI, through a ChatGPT. We're spending hours and hours on drafting briefs and gathering all this information when there's software out there that can do it. This way we can focus more on what we're really good at, the customer service, the analyzing, the putting it all together, the organizing, the presenting it to the attorney, the strategizing. That's really what paralegals were meant to do. We were supposed to occupy that partnership role with the attorneys versus getting bottled down with all these administrative tasks because attorneys either cannot afford it or refuse to hire somebody and onboard somebody. Or, like you said, find an AI that can replace those administrative tasks and automate the bulk of their information, which I feel like if done correctly, like you've proven, it can go well, right? It can go horribly wrong too if you don't do it right. Because I always say, whatever you put in, it's what's going to come out. So you have to learn what to ask it, how to organize it, exactly what information are you gathering in and placing in the system for it to actually spit it out. And you have to have the knowledge to be like, this is correct, this is incorrect, this, I should really change this. There's still always going to be that human element, right? That is going to be needed in some capacity. Maybe not as much as we're using it now. I feel like we overutilize humans. Like you said, if you get ahead of it, I think we'll be fine.
Take the challenge that I gave you and see if you can create a specific prompt and a specific way to be able to use ChatGPT to be able to make your job more efficient. And if you take that to your boss and share with them, be like, hey, look at how I'm able to make this whole process, optimize it, may be able to save time, and that saving time equals this much. What would you give me if I'm able to manage this and kind of lead our AI-enabled paralegal kind of department and be able to kind of scale this up for you? If you take now you'll be ahead of it and you'll be in charge of it. And as you said, Eda, there's always a need for quality control. It means we don't just rely completely on it. You still need a human to be able to review what has been done by AI. But you want to be kind of the manager of that, in charge of that before someone else takes over that role.
And you want to learn it. We're actually doing a whole, I love this topic because it's coming at a really valuable time for at least our company, because we're doing a whole workshop and webinar on AI and how to get ahead of it and what resources are reliable, how you can learn what you were just saying, how to investigate further. And like you said, get ahead of it.